Oh my. Oh my.
You are now tuned in to the Revolution Radio Show.
Yo, you know what it is and what it do. You are officially tuned into the Revolution Radio Show on 102.3 FM KCAA in the Inland Empire, worldwide on the NBC Radio Network and on iHeartRadio. As always, I am your host, Jay Love, and I am always joined by the Asian Queen, Miss Melione. How you doing today?
What's up, Jay? I'm great. I had a wardrobe malfunction. My bra falling. We're good. We're good.
You keep it together. You know what happened to Janet Jackson. You know what happened to Janet Jackson.
Hey, she got publicity. You believe that, bad publicity is good publicity?
No, not with her. Remember, she got shut down. She got canceled for a minute. Remember?
Yeah, she did actually. But then she had a little comeback, no?
It took a minute. It took a minute. It's definitely one of them situations. But today we talking, we gonna go in, we talking about all this stuff that's going on in the news. We definitely want to hear y'all tap in. So whether you hitting us, whether you checking us out on the radio, if you checking us out online, whether it's I know I got my Instagram live. I know you going live usually on Instagram. We got Facebook Live, YouTube Live, whatever. But also, if you want to just hit us live, I want you guys to know you can hit us on the phone. We can talk to you on the phone. Area code 951-755-1356. That's area code 951-755-1356. We'll be putting that up throughout the show. But today we're talking about all these different things in the news, man, that affect us. So we're going to start with, and I'm going to let you, Melione, I know this weekend, we barely touched on it yesterday because we had a special guest, but I wanted to circle back around. This weekend, there was a lot going on this weekend, and I know you were involved with some stuff. So tell us what was going on with you this weekend, what you were involved with, and then we'll kind of correlate that with everything that's going on in the news.
Well, first tell me about yours, because I'm logging on right now to my live, and I just want to make sure, because some people wanted to tap in about that situation.
We already got a call already. Let's see who this is. Yo, Revolution Radio Show. You are live on the air. Who is this?
Yeah, this is Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm currently in the car, not being pulled over or anything. But I'm trying to figure out where you guys are in the trip.
Where we are as far as what?
Oh, okay. Because I'm listening on the radio. I'm a little bit behind.
Okay, no, we just started. Basically, we just started the show. We're talking today. We're talking about Stop Asian Hate. We're talking about these White Lives Matter rallies that are going on across the country. And look, there's my motorcycle going every day. And we're talking about police brutality, man. We're going to talk about the Army First Lieutenant that got brutalized by the police in Virginia. We're going to talk about Dante Wright, who was murdered just miles away from where the trial for the murder of George Floyd is going on. So that's where we're at, brother. How are you doing?
You know what? It's a blessed day today.
Well, that's good to hear.
Wait, hold on. They're hearing us from the radio?
My question is with this Army officer that was pepper sprayed. I'm still trying to gather the facts. What was he pulled over for?
Well, basically, it was just a simple traffic stop. As I understand it, I think it had to do with the tint of his windows. The officers got upset, because I'm definitely going to get into the story, but the officers got upset because, and just so you know, I want you guys out there to understand, and if there's any law enforcement listening, I want you to understand, at times, it's kind of an unwritten thing in the Black community, right? When you get pulled over by the police, one of the things that we have circulated amongst ourselves is do not pull over on the highway. Do not pull over on the freeway. Find a well-lighted area, like a parking lot, a gas station, a grocery store, because it's safer there. So what happened was, when they first, lit him up with the lights, it took him over a mile driving before he pulled over, because he found the gas station. So they were upset because he didn't pull over until he got to the gas station. So that's what kind of started this whole thing. But as you know, it was absolutely insane and ridiculous, because he was an Army First Lieutenant in uniform. Like, it should have been de-escalated from the beginning. Hello, you still there?
Well, I think it would be considered a lesser use of force, considering that it was pepper spray instead of. We'd be hearing a different story in terms of a possible murder if it was something more than that, right?
Well, correct. But the thing is it should have never even gotten to that. He was, they didn't even tell him why. Immediately they said, you're under arrest. He kept asking, why am I under arrest? Mm-hmm. He was complying, but he was simply saying, I just need to know, why am I under arrest? He had his hands out of the window. He simply said he did not want to reach for anything because he feared for his safety. And so these officers, especially the main officer, just, wanted to continue to escalate it. And that's when he pepper sprayed him. And even though it was a lot milder, and thank God he didn't end up dead, it's still the fact that it should have never went to there. And it shows the blatant disregard for Black males in this country, especially amongst law enforcement. Like, it's not okay. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that anyone of a white counterpart, I don't believe a white male, especially in uniform, a lieutenant in the U.S. Armed Forces, would have been treated in that manner.
No way.
Oh, I have a shared anecdotal experience with one of my Joes I serve out of Pomona, and one of my privates, every time he went home, even though he was in uniform, he felt that he was still hassled as if he wouldn't be in uniform at all.
Yeah, man, and it's unfortunate, and so it's like, what do we do? At some point, we need to make an example of these officers so they understand that this behavior is not tolerated whatsoever. Because, at this point, what's difficult is that in a lot of places, they have what's called qualified immunity. And in a lot of other places, they just won't be convicted. And those are the problems that we're seeing. And even right now with the trial of Derek Chauvin, the officer that murdered George Floyd, why do we have to have a 4-week trial for a murder that the entire world witnessed live on television? Like, we witnessed the murder. There is no questions, but yet we're still having a 4-week trial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, there's still due process, and what Derek Chauvin did, it's something he's going to be facing the book over. I'm just scared over these next couple of weeks. Is there any sort of sentence that would satisfy the public without there being anything burned down or any riots? Because a lot of these businesses that are in these nearby areas, they're still trying to repair. I'd be scared for anything happening to them with any unrest.
No, I agree with you, man. And so and here's what, I work with a lot of community organizations. And honestly, if they were just to come back with a guilty verdict, that would be the beginning in the healing process. That would be the beginning. And it would definitely quell all of the emotions, because that's one thing we have not seen yet. We have not seen a guilty verdict in these cases. And I firmly believe that if they come back with a guilty verdict, we will definitely see some kind of relief and some kind of just finally within the community, and it'll quell all of those things that you and other people are worried about.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm a first-time listener. I hope to hear more of you guys soon. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you for tuning in. We're on every day, Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. So definitely feel free to tune in. Tell all your friends about it. What's your name again, sir?
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Well, Jimmy, we appreciate you, man. And we look forward to having you as a loyal listener. Thank you for tuning into the Revolution Radio Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo, so that was Jimmy, man. That was
no, that's so crazy to say that he pulled over, heard us on the radio, calling in. So y'all make sure you call in, man. Everybody on our Instagram Live, Facebook, call in, talk to us. Let us know how you feel about everything that's going on right now with the Stop Asian Hate, with the the officer, the lieutenant that got pulled over, pepper sprayed, and just everything going on right now. So much going on.
Yeah, and so I got a ton of things that I want to jump into, Melione. So I really want to get into your thing,
okay?
Because I want to give you the ample time. You know what I'm saying? And so tell us what your weekend, what you was doing, and what it was all about.
Yeah, this weekend was super crazy. Had a lot of different events, but for sure it was these two main events, rallies that I went to. The first one was at Walnut City Hall. It was hashtag Stop Asian Hate rally, but I was the MC and performer at this event. But I was telling the crowd that I don't like the hashtag Stop Asian Hate because I feel like there's power in the tongue, right? So we're saying Stop Asian Hate, we're still saying hate, right? So I told everyone in the crowd, we're gonna start a new hashtag, hashtag Show Asians Love.
Wow, that's
Because
dope.
same thing as like hashtag Black Lives Matter. It's facts, but it's a positive thing. Like let's do something positive, and that also correlates to everything going on. So hashtag Show Asians Love. I was telling everybody that, but it was great. We had a lot of city councils. The mayor of Walnut came out. Some family therapists. Some just special guests coming on. But I was telling you yesterday that it was so crazy because the event was 2 hours and it was hot, Jay. I don't know, it was kind of LA, IE area county in Walnut at 12 to 2. Man, it was so hot. I didn't make an announcement on this when I was emceeing, but somebody passed out. So the ambulance came and a fire truck came. So somebody passed out. So I had to constantly remind people to drink water, that we had free water available, to stay hydrated, drink tea, drink water. So, but it was a cool turnout. There happened to be one guest though, I'm not going to put him on blast, but he was one of the speakers, and he kind of got a little too political for the organizer, like, and he was saying like, we'll talk about the All Lives Matter movement, but he was saying that, and he was like saying to basically back up the law enforcement, and it was, and then people in the crowd started booing, boo, and then as the MC, I gotta like de-escalate the situation.
Wow,
So
they
like,
lucky it wasn't me. Oh, I'd have went in.
man, that's what I'm saying. So like I had to get on and kind of like, he had a service dog, so I'm not knowing, is he part blind or he had a service dog with him, so I had to like low-key kick him off the stage. And it was kind of, that was probably like the only, besides right before I performed at the end, the batteries died. So
Right.
the devil is a liar, man. He was just doing all types of things. But then the second rally in Radio Korea and around downtown LA, it was powerful as well. It was a little more of a turnout, but shout out to Willie Ham. He's a big activist in the Asian community. He flew from New York to kind of coordinate this rally, and it was great. They were talking about how we need to include a little more Asian American studies in our curriculums. So that was important. And just talking about unity, there was all types of race there: Asians, whites, Mexicans, blacks. So I appreciated everyone showing up, ally, and just fighting against racism. It's everybody versus racism. It's not blacks versus Asians, whites versus Asians. It's everybody versus racism,
Right.
So I'm all about that. Last year, peak of pandemic, I was marching for the Black Lives Matter movement. I was speaking at some of the rallies. I was all about it, and to see people come together for this movement and to fight for justice is awesome. And I appreciate people who are coming out to support and speak out against it.
Word.
So, yeah.
And I know while you were doing your thing at the same time, as a matter of fact, we got a clip right now of basically kind of what was going on this weekend and things that Melione was involved. Let me play this real quick.
Stand Up for Asians event this afternoon at City Hall. The rally featured many speakers, including mental health experts, local city council, and the family of Joseph Aledo. He was a Filipino-American postman who was gunned down by a white supremacist 22 years ago. Organizers say this rally was meant to inspire people to take action.
We're here at the Stand for Asians rally, Stop Asian Hate. Today is just about what can we do about it, so shout out to all my Asians. Xin chào, I am Vietnamese, and my name is Melione. Thank you so much. Peace.
Asians, so we appreciate you guys coming out. I know it's hot. Just a reminder, there's some water right there, but you can stay cool by just thinking how cool Asians are.
Some answers. Usually cool. Right now I feel like they play us as fools. Bully our people at work and at school. Laugh at our language cause they can't speak too. Tao sân ở đây tao biết tiếng Việt. Mày sân ở đây mày không biết shit. Đừng cho cái mạng trên áo của mày.
Yo, so you made it on the news, Channel 7 News. That's kind of fire right there.
There was a lot of couple news stations there. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. It was good. It was cool.
Okay. So yeah, and the crazy thing is while you were doing that, there was this weekend was a coordinated effort by some white supremacist groups some neo-Nazi group, literally all over the country, right? Were organizing this. This was crazy, right? And so they were doing White Lives Matter rallies all over the country. And one of them happened to be, and I keep getting it mixed up. Was it Newport or Huntington?
Huntington Beach.
Yeah, Huntington Beach. So, and here's the crazy part. So I want to say shout out to all the white supremacists. Shout out to, and I'm going to tell you why. Shout out to all the white supremacists, the neo-Nazis, and the White Lives Matter people, because your event sucked. Okay. All of the events across the nation were complete failures. There was like, at some of them, there was like 3 people who showed up. Another one was like 6 people, right? But the crazy thing is, I thought the bigger ones were going to be on back east because they're, you know, these movements are a lot bigger back east. But the biggest one was actually in Huntington Beach. So I don't know what that says about Huntington Beach in the Orange County area, but anyways,
it says a lot.
I ain't even gonna go there right now. We're gonna go there later, but you know, but the biggest one was in Huntington Beach, but it was only like literally, I think like a couple of dozen people that were there, but they were overwhelmed by anti-protesters, right? Or, you know, and there was all these other people that were there. I'm talking, you know, Hispanic, Black, Asian, everybody under the sun, right? It was this whole coalition of people, like you said, everybody against racism, basically.
Right.
And so the crazy thing is that not only were they outnumbered by the people that they were trying to show this big giant, you know, White Lives Matter thing to, but 2 of the main organizers, who were these neo-Nazi guys, and you know, I don't necessarily condone violence or whatever, but you know, sometimes I can't be mad if a neo-Nazi walks away with a knot in his head. You know what I'm saying? The master swastika tattoo. You know what I mean? I can't be mad at it. You know what I'm saying? And so, but the funny thing to me was I seen videos, and it was a bunch of little, you know, and yo, don't nobody get mad at me, but you know, I be teasing millennials. You know what I'm saying? But it was a bunch of millennials was socking up this skinhead. And I was like, come on, man, you can't get socked up by some millennials if you're a big, tough, bad, you know what I mean? Like if you're a big, bad skinhead. But anyway,
I used to DJ there right before the pandemic at that same block that went viral, that same street. There's the restaurant there. I was DJing at. I'm not gonna lie, it was, primarily white people that went there.
Wow. So so that was going on. But the biggest takeaway from this is that if you look at it at the same time, as I understand it, there was also this weekend a lot of the anti-Asian hate rallies across the country as well. And it goes to show you that love is way stronger than hate, because all of those were successful and tons of people showed out. But for these hateful rallies that were, here's what I want to say. Look, I understand to some people, like I understand what you're trying to say with the sentiment of all lives matter. I get that. I really do understand what you're trying to say. But the truth is, in this country, all lives have not mattered, right? So when we were saying Black Lives Matter, or when we even say now with the whole Asian situation, like show love for Asians, we're not saying like, yo, only Asians or only Black people. We're saying that right now, there is a situation going on that needs specific attention, much like when you have Breast Cancer Awareness Month, or people ain't, you know, and I know you've heard this before.
Day, we're not saying our mothers are important. Like at that day, at that moment, this is what we're focused on right now.
And so, and what's crazy is that a year later, right now, we're dealing with the trial of Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd on camera for the world to see. Just miles away from that. And I'm going to get into this in a minute, because today I'm really going to go in on some folks. But another young man, Derek Wright, was murdered, you know what I'm saying, by police officers. And the thing is that it still goes to show that the truth is that Black lives don't matter.
So Jay, for the people that don't know what happened, let everybody kind of like get a recap.
Okay, so a couple things. I want to go over a couple things just this week, just this last few days alone. Okay, so one of the things is literally there's an incident at Rock Island County State Office, right? And this is back east. There was a young man who was a high school football player. Okay, and this is in Illinois, Melione. I hope I said it correctly, Melione, Illinois.
Wow, he's still in high school?
Yeah, he's a high school football player, and he was forced into a locker with banana peels in it, right? And he said the fellow players threatened to break both of his knees if he refused. The incident was captured on video and put on social media, right? The 11-second video was reportedly shot on Thursday night, but in less than 24 hours, the footage had already made it to the police department. And so, but my point is that you have this young black kid who is being threatened by he's in high school, being threatened, not only physically threatened, right, that they would break both of his knees, but specifically being pushed into a locker with bananas and calling him a monkey, right? That's on Thursday, right? So, you know, then you have Dante Wright, okay? Dante Wright is a young man, I believe only 21 years old, was pulled over, okay, on a basic traffic stop for having, many of you have these not window, but these air fresheners hanging from your mirror, okay? Technically, if you want to be technical and follow the letter of the law, that is illegal. Like, you're not supposed to have that, but let's be real, it's not one of those things that's ever really enforced, right? But basically the reason for him being pulled over was that he had an air freshener, okay? Upon him being pulled over, so here's the thing, and I want to explain this part because it's important to understand the psychology of what not only we deal with as black males, but what we're dealing with, the people coming across dealing with us. A year ago, this young man unfortunately made a mistake. Now, mind you, Minnesota is a state where marijuana has been decriminalized, but he made a mistake and he was caught with a joint. Okay. As a lot of young people do, make mistakes, right? But again, it's a misdemeanor. He was given a ticket for the misdemeanor. The ticket was $81, I believe, right? But then the pandemic happens and all of, there's a lot of confusion, including in the court system, right? So the pandemic happens, the court, and he never pays the $81. So because of that, right, here we are a year later, guess what? There's a warrant put out for his arrest for a misdemeanor for an $81 ticket. Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that was the backstory.
Yes, so people are using that to say, see, look, he was a criminal. He was he was a young dude who made a mistake. Okay. And it was a misdemeanor. I got to keep saying that. It's no different on a legal scale than you getting a parking ticket. Like, he got a ticket for it and a fine. You feel me? But again, the pandemic affected everyone around the world, right? So it's fair to say that, yeah, I would have forgot about that too. I'm not thinking about my tickets to the pandemic. I'm trying to get out of the house.
Yeah, I'm trying to survive.
So when the cops pull him over, it's a surprise to him, right? The reason he freaks out, for some of you, I don't know how many of you have seen the video. I'm not going to play the video because it's traumatic. And again, it's watching a murder. But he freaks out when they say there's a warrant for your arrest. Now, here's what I want my audience to understand, especially those of you who are not black. I know this is difficult for you to understand, but we are deathly afraid of the police. We honestly believe that every time we are accosted by the police, that there is a very good chance that we might not come out of it with our lives. And it begins with the moment that they start to say anything that doesn't make sense. You got to think, if you're not thinking about an $81 ticket, it doesn't make sense for them to tell you that you have a warrant out for your arrest if you've never broken the law. You understand what I'm saying? So this young man, yes, he what you would call resist. He moved, but he was not a threat. There were several officers, surrounding him. He wasn't a threat. And the officer, who happens to be a 26-year veteran of the police department, who was not only a 26-year veteran of the police department, but was the president of the police union there, in that part of Minnesota. Okay. In Brooklyn, it's called Brooklyn Center, right? It's just outside of Minneapolis. So she had the nerve to say that she mistook her service weapon for a taser. Now, for anyone who has half of a brain, let's walk through this, okay? Let's really walk through this, okay?
That's her argument.
That's her argument, is that she, a 26-year veteran. Okay, I've never been a police officer, but I do understand this. If you do anything for 26 years, you should be pretty good at it, right? I think it's safe to say that, right, Melione? If you do anything,
Yeah.
like if you DJ for 26 years, you should be good at DJing. I think
know
that's just.
I should know, yeah, a certain button or a certain, gear versus another gear. But
Yeah, without, even without looking, like, this button is to my left and this
I
other
know
button
if
is
this
to
is a
my.
mic, yeah, if this is a microphone or just, you know what I mean, like a XLR cable.
Yeah. So this woman who has the nerve to say that, okay, so then I did some research and I did some asking around. And here's what I discovered, that when it comes to your weapons, number one, your firearm and your taser are put on two different sides of your hip. Okay. Always.
Mm-hmm.
They're always on the same side every day. It's not like you change them back and forth. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I was told. And if there's any law enforcement out there that can tell me something different, please tell me differently. Okay. But this is what I was told, that your firearm, right, which is your most important weapon, is on your strongest hand, your dominant hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your taser is on the opposite hand, right? So again, I'm right-handed. So that's my dominant hand, which means, I'm not an officer, but I think I'm smart enough to know that if my right hand is where my gun is at, my taser is not going to be where my right hand is at. You feel me? Those are pretty simple instructions. That's number one. Number two, my taser does not weigh as much as my firearm. Like if you've ever held a taser, a taser weighs, I don't know the exact, but like some ounces.
Yeah, it's
right?
not as big as a gun, right?
Where my gun weighs a couple of pounds. I can feel, without even looking at it, right? I can feel that in my hand, the difference. Okay. Now it's one thing if it's my first day on the job, like, oh my God, I don't know which is my gun, which is my taser, because it's my first day on the job. But she was a 26-year veteran of the police force. And she pulled out her weapon and she fired and she murdered this young man.
How many times did she shoot at him?
I counted, because I watched the video a couple of times. I counted 4 shots. I don't know how many hit him, and it could have been more, but I was just, because you understand, this is traumatic for me.
You shoot somebody for four times and then you try to say you thought it was a taser?
Again, a taser you pull, because I have shot it. I've shot both the gun and the taser. A taser, you pull the trigger once, right? Once, and the taser comes out, and you just hold it. You don't do this. You don't pull it multiple times.
You seen that meme where it says, so cops want to be excused because when they're frazzled or scared or something, they freak out. But then when untrained civilians, you want us to stay calm while there's a gun in our face. Or there's like people around that we're threatened by. You want us to stay calm. But these trained cops, and they want to shoot us or shoot people because they didn't know, they couldn't stay calm in a situation like that. Like, that's something I won't understand. And you know what, Jay? Like with everything going on with the Asian hate and the Black Lives Matter last year, and what you said earlier a couple minutes ago about how as a black man, as a black human being, how you get scared of cops coming around. I didn't realize the extent of that until I was dating someone last year who was black, and he texted me, "Hey babe, I just got pulled over by the cops," and I'm thinking, oh shoot, like I hope he's okay. What happened? And later on, he tells me he called his brother, bro, just pray for me. Like, I hope they don't kill me. Like something serious like that. And I was like, I didn't understand that till he told me, look, as a black man, you get scared when a cop pulls you over because you don't know this could be your last time. So I didn't understand that until I was dating somebody.
Yeah, listen, God, and it's just messing with me. I'm just tired. I'm tired of seeing brothers who look like me, who look like my friends, who look like people that I'm related to. I'm tired of seeing brothers dying. And I got to explain to people why it's not okay, because they justify it. Because like even with the Derek Chauvin trial, but I call it the George Floyd trial because they're putting George Floyd on trial, right? Because he was a drug addict and but it doesn't mean he deserved to die. And the crazy thing is that, this is it's not a fear that is unfounded or that is irrational. It is a real fear that is ingrained in us because we know they can do whatever they want to do And it doesn't matter what you can be quiet, you can lay down, you can be asleep in your bed, you can resist, you cannot resist. You can say yes, sir, you can say no, sir. And it doesn't matter what you do. If on that day that officer deems you a threat and that officer is afraid of you, because nothing has been weaponized more than my skin. Nothing has been weaponized more than my skin. So if you say that you're afraid of me, you can murder me with impunity. And I'm sick and tired of defending people who are dead, who can't speak for themselves. I'm sick and tired of defending them because maybe they had some things in their past, that were not perfect. Right. And because of that, you find it, it's unhuman for you to find it okay that because they made some mistakes, not in every case, but there's always, like with George Floyd, to use his example, just because he might have been a criminal before, it's okay that he died, right? It's like there's always a but. Like it shouldn't have happened, but he shouldn't have did this. It shouldn't have happened, but he was on drugs. It shouldn't have happened, but he shouldn't have talked back to the cops. He should have just shut his mouth. Like there's always a but, and I'm sick of look, I'm gonna tell you a story, and it's similar to what you just said. When I was first dating my wife, right? We were sitting in a car talking, and it was in a nice neighborhood, and there was a park that we used to like to go to walk around or whatever, and we had just got finished on our little walks, in the beginning when you're trying to be romantic and all of that. And we were legit just like, it would have been different. I would have maybe even understood it if we had been like making out or something, right? But we was legit talking, right? Mm-hmm. And so I see an officer driving in our direction, and he looks at me. Before he even gets behind us, I look at her and say, he's going to turn around. She's like, no, it's ridiculous. What are you saying? Like, because we're not doing anything, right? So sure enough, he flips a U-turn, immediately gets behind us, woo, right? Lights us up, comes to my side of the vehicle, doesn't ask me for my name, doesn't ask me for my ID. He says, can I get you to step out of the vehicle? I've been here before. I understand the protocol, right? So I get out of the vehicle. He handcuffs me and sits me on the curb by his car. He then proceeds to go over to her. And
are you asking him while this is happening, what did I do, sir? Like, what I do or no?
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, what's the problem? And he's like, shut up, I'll talk to you in a minute. Right. And I'm like, yo, I don't understand what. And he's like, I'll be with you in a minute. At which time he proceeds to go over to her. And for the next 15 to 20 minutes, tries to convince her that I was sexually assaulting her. And he tells her, look, if you're scared, don't worry. Just say the word and I'll make sure he's never a problem again. I'll take care of it. Could you imagine what would have happened if maybe we would have been arguing or fighting? She was so dumbfounded. She didn't really believe that this was real. And he was legit trying to convince her. He just wanted the okay from her so that he could, quote unquote, take care of me.
Well, you guys are on a date. You're on wife.
Yeah. Yeah. And we just, you know what I mean? And it's like, and here's the crazy part. When I tell this story to people, and I want to choose my words carefully, but I don't know another word other than say that the funny part, the ironic part of that whole thing is that was the first time that we experienced something like that, but not the last. It's not like she only experienced that with me one time. That's the first time. And every time when I leave the house, please don't wear a hoodie. Please, like she's always thinking I'm next, right? Because Melione, I'm a little bit outspoken. You know what I mean? I'm that guy that and it's like every single time a cop gets behind me, I'm a law-abiding citizen. For all intents and purposes, I try to mentor people. I try to make a difference in the community, right? I try to, just make a difference in the world. Like legit, I think that we should be allies, right? Like in a perfect world, right? I should be allies with the cops. But the moment the cops get behind me, at 46 years old, I'm terrified. I've been to some of the worst hoods around the world. I've been in third world countries where they like decapitate people and, disappear people into the jungle. I'm not afraid. I can go to Compton today. I could go to Watts. I can go to East LA. I'm never afraid in the hood. But the moment a police officer gets behind me, I'm terrified because I have no clue if I'm going to make it through that experience. And this is what we go through. And to think that like it would be different if it was just George Floyd, right? If it was just Eric Garner, if it was just Philando Castile, if it was just Sandra Bland, like I can keep going on and on and on and on with names. Like
I'm
it
so
doesn't
sorry
stop.
you had to go through that. Like I didn't even know you went through that. For him to try to persuade her that you were doing something while you guys are on a date. Like I'm trying not to cry now. Like that's so crazy. I'm so sorry for that. Like for you to have to live in fear of this group that's supposed to protect us, protect and serve. That you don't know if you walk out the house.
See, and that's the thing is they don't protect and serve me. And what I'm trying, and I'm not trying, like, I don't want sympathy. I don't want people to like, because I have a lot of people who hit me up on social media like, Jay, you're always talking about race, and Jay, you're always making it about race. But I'm like, I don't have a choice. Like when I walk outside, I'm immediately like, my skin is the first thing you see. I don't have the choice for you to see the content of my character. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I have to go, and I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but like I go for my little walks every day because of my heart and, trying to get back into shape. And, so especially in the mornings, it's kind of chilly. So I'm
For
always
those who
wearing.
don't know, tuning in right now, a couple months ago, Jay just had a heart attack. So, and he survived. So that just first of all shows that, you're here for a reason and God has a bigger purpose for you. So yeah, thank you again for surviving, Jay, and being a soldier. You kind of downplay it, but a heart attack that's not a little cut on your arm. You had a whole heart attack.
Because I'm grateful, you know what I mean? And I'm appreciative. And I figure like, okay, I got another chance. So I'm not going to make a big deal about it. Like I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. So I get up every morning and I go, like the doctor told me, I go do, I walk about 2.5 to 3 miles a day, depending on the day. Right. And, because it's been chilly in the mornings, I always wear my hoodie. Right. And I always have my earbuds in because I'm listening to music. And, like every time I see a cop, like I'm not doing anything. I'm walking to get back in shape. Like I'm trying to get back in good, physical condition. And every time I see a cop car, I get, I get nervous. And I'm afraid to look at them because if I look at them, did I look at them wrong? Do I look suspicious? So, but if I look away, but if I don't look at them, do I look suspicious? Which one do I do? Do I look? Do I don't look? What do I do? I just, okay, so this is what I do. And it's going to sound silly, but I start dancing, right? So like, oh, he's listening to music, right? And I start dancing because I figure, okay, that maybe will, I don't know, make him think I look silly.
Like you just randomly start.
Yeah, because at least if you laugh at me, if I look silly, maybe I don't look like a threat or I don't look like a suspect. Because I've been told you fit the description on a number of occasions with guns in my face. So I don't want to fit any descriptions. So let me just dance and look real silly and do the silliest moves I can because I don't know. And then I had one route that I used to do and I changed it, right? Because I would get like, because legit, and like I was telling you last week, like I got diagnosed or they started to diagnose me that I got PTSD from a lot of this crap or whatever, right? And traumas from childhood. And so legit, like one of my routes that I would first walk would take me behind a Walmart, right? So I would walk through a Walmart parking lot and kind of go, behind the Walmart because it's the long way. There's always the back way behind Walmart, if, any Walmart you go to. But I started getting nervous, like every time, like I would get this anxiety because I'm like, what if, the security thinks that I'm back here doing something wrong and I have my earbuds in and I can't hear them and they shout a command and I didn't, do the command. So I would get anxiety every single time. So I had to like change my route because it was just freaking me out too much because I'm like, I don't even need this. Like this is, I can walk a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like this is too much for me to deal with right now. But the thing is why do I even have to think about that?
Yeah. Why do you have to live in fear? Like, yeah, you shouldn't be.
And my point is, I don't want to make it about me. There was a picture circling on social media, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's because there's a protest / uprising. I don't want to call it riots, but uprising going on. And
wait, before you go on, I just want to shout out my homegirl Nikki, 5143 NIKI 5143 on Instagram. She said, "I feel you, I see you," and she's sending you love, facts. So people on my IG live are tapping in, sending love, and just saying wow to your situation. you
Yo,
know, just
I appreciate that. I truly do, you know. And so, you know, like I said, there's I'm sure a lot of you have seen this picture that's been circulating of a young man there in Minnesota. It's just a picture of his face, and you can see tears running down his cheeks, right? And there's and God, sorry, it's emotional to me.
it's all good. We a real show,
But
man.
yeah,
Revolution Radio show, y'all. We gonna cry, we gonna laugh. It's all good. Let it out, Jay.
but I can feel this young man's pain because he feels like there's nothing he can do. That picture says more than 1,000 words to me because it's just his face. There's no words, and there's tears running down his cheeks. And I understand what that young man is feeling because I know it's not just him. I got a lot of young men that I mentor, and you know, they all call me Unc, or they call me Uncle, and they like, yo, Unc, man, what are you gonna do? Uncle, like, what are we gonna do? And like, I give them advice, but in the back of my head, like, I don't want to tell them this, but I'm like, it don't matter what the hell you do. Because these, you know what I mean? If they want to get you, they go, you know, but I try to tell them like, yo, I give them steps, like be calm, answer questions. I know you know, you're not a sucker, you know, but just, you know, yes, sir, no, sir, live to fight the next day. Like I'm always, you know, but I understand, like I said, I could go case after case after case where it didn't matter. The history of policing in this country is that of brutalization and of murder. And I say that because I fight with every day. I understand that I shouldn't have, and my community shouldn't be afraid of the police. We should be arm in arm with the police working together. But I struggle every day with not hating the police. I'm saying this out loud because I'm speaking for people who can't. I got a microphone, they don't. Right. We don't want to be at odds with you. We don't want to be afraid of you. We don't want you to look at us like we're a threat, because believe me, we are more afraid of you than you are of us. We just want to live in peace. We want to be able to go to high school. We want to be able to play sports. We want to go hang out with our girlfriends or with our friends. You know what I mean? And we don't have to work. We don't want to have to worry about that if we do get pulled over, because sometimes in life you do. If we do get pulled over, that might be the last day of our lives. And I'm saying this because there's a lot of people, because trust me, this trial is opening up wounds from last year, right? Remember last summer how tense things were?
Yeah.
And I pray to God that Derek Chauvin is found guilty, but I honestly don't know.
Like he has to be made the example. He's the sacrifice. They gotta be like, yo, yeah, this happens way too much. This actually caused the whole like, you know, the movement, the protests, the riots. There was a lot going on, you know, Breonna Taylor during that time.
Yeah.
Do you remember Ahmaud?
Yeah, we haven't even got to his trial yet. Ahmaud Arbery. We haven't even got to that trial yet.
He was running to me, like I showed my mom the video, and even she was tripping out, like how they just trapped him, and he's just going for a jog. He seemed like the nicest person, you know. So, man, it's so crazy. But yeah, they have to not just arrest him, but like he has to get, I don't know, like for sure, death sentence or like a long time, because.
See, and that's the thing. I don't have 100% faith that that'll happen. I don't have a faith in the judicial system in the United States of America.
What's my motto, Jay? What's my motto? All y'all on my IG live, what's my motto? I need you to hashtag what's my motto, Jay. I know you said
what's your motto?
What's my hashtag after each post that I make? I make a certain hashtag. It's a lifestyle. It's anybody know it? Okay, it's hashtag stay dope, have hope. So you know what I mean? Like
I know feel you. And I'm usually super positive, but because of my experience as a black male in this country, because literally people forget last summer, they were hanging brothers from trees in the year 2020.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like it's 2021 and we stuffing black kids in a locker, calling them a monkey with banana peels. You understand? There is still this undercurrent that people are okay with. People love black culture, right? They love black music. They love swag. They love, you know, watching us play sports. They love everything about black people except for us. I wish people love black people as much as they love black culture. Like I
love
really
black
do.
people. I feel like my husband's gonna be black.
I feel you. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to be terrified every day for your black kids. And it's a sad truth. There's so many mamas out there. You know what I mean? I literally have mamas who call me who worry about their sons and go, Jay, what do I do? Can you call him and check on him and see if he cool? Can you call him and tell him not to be, hanging with certain people or going out at a certain time of night? You know what I mean? But other people don't have to call their kids and worry like that. And I know maybe I sound like I'm going on and I'm rambling. Look, and you'll be happy in a second because my hour's almost done. Okay. But I just want to say this, and this is what my ask is. And, there was a movie that came out a number of years ago called A Time to Kill with Samuel L. Jackson and with Matthew McConaughey. And in that movie, there was these 3 white guys raped a little black girl, right? Raped her, brutalized her, beat her, left her for dead. It was Samuel L. Jackson's daughter in the movie, right? And, Samuel L. Jackson, when they arrested these guys, went to the courthouse and ended up, he tried to shoot him. Actually he shot one of them, killed him, and shot the cop. But anyways, he was on trial then, right? Because they did this to his daughter. So Matthew McConaughey was his attorney. And a lot of you remember this movie, but for those of you who don't, I'm going to tell you what happened. So he starts to describe what happened. He said, I want you guys, he told the jury, he said, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine a little girl on her way home from school, skipping and singing songs. I want you to imagine this little girl, 9 years old, full of just amazing life ahead of her. And in the split moment, 3 men completely take everything about her childhood away from her. They take away her innocence. They take away her dignity. They take away her sense of security and safety, and they brutalize her and they leave her for dead. But unfortunately, she doesn't die. She lives. So now she has to replay this every single day of her life in her head. And then he said the thing that I think no audience member was ready for, nor was the jury in the movie. And he said, because the jury was all white, he said, now I want you to imagine that little girl was white. And so what I'm asking you this is that I know that maybe you don't understand the whole George Floyd situation. Maybe you don't understand, you've never dealt with, like, I can't expect people to understand something they've never experienced. Like if you've never walked in someone's shoes, I can't expect you to understand what it's like to deal with this, right? So I can't fully be angry with you, right? But what I am asking you to do is this. Imagine if your sons, if your daughters were constantly watched, were constantly accosted because of, a lot of, I know like Irish used to go through this back in the day, right? The Italians used to go through this back in the day. Asians, went through this a lot throughout the history of this country. Now imagine just because of that difference, the moment that your children left the house, you didn't know if they were going to return. All I'm asking you to do is to imagine that and understand that that's how my community feels. And I heard somebody say this eloquently today, and I'm going to repeat this before we close down this show. And it's this, is that I understand that you may not understand, but there's a community of people around you. Some of these are your neighbors. Some of these are your coworkers. Some of these are your fellow church members, right? And there's a community of people around you that are hurting. We're in mourning, right? We're hurt deeply. And before you go and you want to throw out the what you consider to be facts, like this person was a drug addict or this person was this or that, can you stop just for, and I want you to look at it like this. It would be the same as if my father died of a heart attack. And before I could even say anything about it, you walked in and said, hey, I'm sorry that your father died of a heart attack, but have you seen his diet? Were you helping him to exercise? What kind of a lifestyle was he living? You would be a absolute despicable human being for doing that. And in the same way right now, it's unhuman when your neighbors, when your coworkers, when your church congregant members around you are hurting, and what you throw in their face is things that you deem to be facts, when the only facts that matter is that we're mourning, we're hurting, and we're not trying to live separated from y'all like this. We're not trying to be at beef with, we're not trying to be beefing with anybody.
Right.
And when we say Black Lives Matter, when we say stop Asian hate, when we say any of these things, we're not saying it because we want to be better than you.
Right.
We're saying it because we just want to be like you. We don't want more. We just want to be equal. That's it. And it's sad that in 2021, we're still begging
To live in
to
peace.
be
Right.
equal. That's it. I don't want more. I don't want to be better than. I don't want to, be treated special. I don't want sympathy. I just want equal. I want to know that when I walk outside, I'm treated just the same as Jeffrey or Scott or Kyle. You know what I mean? I want to know that I can talk to an officer and not be afraid at all. That I can yell at an officer the way I've seen my friends do. I've seen my white friends yell at officers.
Right.
And was in like complete awe. Like, I can't believe this is happening. And you haven't even got punched yet. I got beat up for the first time by a cop and called a nigger when I was 12 years old. It's not just my experience. So all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying, people, is this. I'm sharing my experiences with you so that you could understand that this is something that is a real thing, that even though it doesn't affect you, it affects someone that, like I said, you work with, you live around, that you come in contact with. And I promise you, you want racism to end? It's this simple. It's this simple. Understand that, like, we're not no different than you. We want the American dream. We want our kids to go to good schools. We want, we want to go and enjoy, if Felipe, yes, that's Officer Felipe Haynes, man. Yes, let's do another show. I'm gonna hit you up. Let's talk.
Wow.
So
wait, hold on, Jay. Before we get off, I have a lot of people showing love on IG and, listening to you share. I definitely want to give them a shout out. Shout out to Shaq, Kira Cakes Hoops. She said the awareness isn't enough. Generational experience that continues over and over. Bitsy 626 says you have a huge community of Asians who stand in solidarity with the Black community. Unity, bro. Shout out to Nikki. She says sad reality, sad world we live in. And you weren't rambling. You're enlightening people and letting people know. And then Nikki says, see the human being behind the drug addict. As we were talking about, like, don't just say, this person is that. Yeah, so a lot of people are, showing you love. I'm here with you. You already know. Asian stand with you. Solidarity is everybody versus racism.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry you have to go through this. Today's episode was, being vulnerable, opening up. I appreciate you opening up and to us and to the listeners as well.
Nah, and this conversation ain't over. And like, I appreciate Officer Felipe. He was on. I don't know if you guys remember, about a month ago, we had him on. Him and one of his other fellow officers, and that honestly it was amazing for me. A lot of people needed to hear that. But I'm going to say this to you, Felipe, if you can help me out with this, and anyone out there who either is in law enforcement or knows someone in law enforcement, I would love to have a panel where we have a number of police come on here. We need to hear from you. Like, you know what we're going to say. We need to hear from law enforcement. We need to know that this is not okay from that side of the badge.
So Felipe just said, in order to fix the problem, we need to acknowledge there is a problem. Facts.
Word. So I hate the fact that this show ended right now. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell everybody that I love you. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow. We got,
Monday to Friday, 5 to 6.
Yeah, tell all your friends, tell all your people, you know what I'm saying? This is what we do. Melione, I want to tell you, I appreciate you. You know what I mean? We could, me and Melione haven't fought lately about the vaccine, so maybe we'll do that this week. You know, I had to end it with a joke.
Oh,
So maybe we'll do that later. But you know, as usual, on behalf of Melione, on behalf of myself, I want to remind y'all: reach for your best, reach for success, but most of all, reach for God, because God is love and love is everything. Man, we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Oh my.